When it comes to school, parents often encourage our kids not to go to school, but also to get good grades. As a parent, I know that doesn't always happen. So what happens when our kids fall short of their expectations, fall short of maybe their parents' expectations? Joining us live is Director of Brain Balance San Diego, Amanda Lee, to discuss the impact that learning challenges can have on our kids' mental health. Thanks for coming in, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Let's talk about our kids and mental health. Of course, important topic the past couple of years, especially with COVID and the rebound and everything. But dive into grades and mental health and kind of how the two interact and combine.
Yeah, we live in a culture that really values the gold star.
Right, yes, the
and that's
A+,
a problem. Yeah,
yes.
That's a problem in itself. And right now, with everyone still struggling since the pandemic, that development gap, but also the challenges that were there beforehand, which we were very understanding of, just keeps compounding.
Sure.
And levels of anxiety continue to increase, and that's not just with the students but with the parents as well.
So we get these grades on a report card, but that doesn't always tell the whole story, right?
Does not.
Walk us through what's deeper with that.
Yeah, grades don't just say, hey, you need to try harder, which oftentimes is what parents tend to think. Unfortunately, you really have to peel the layers back and understand why. At Brain Balance, we're all about understanding the root cause of challenges, whether maybe it's a focus issue, maybe it's a memory and retention issue. Oftentimes, there could be a foundational skills issue. So you're trying to do multiplication, but you can still barely add and subtract, right?
Yeah, so if there's a focus issue there, no wonder why you're not getting an A or even a B on some of these tests, because mentally there may be an issue. So we've got to remind ourselves of that. Parents, what could parents do if they're curious as to whether there may be something more going on with their child?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is asking questions rather than passively, waiting for the parent-teacher conference. Right? Ask the teacher ahead of time, really get those check-ins, especially if they're younger kiddos, because they're not going to be able to explain as much. But if you have an older student, older elementary, middle, high school, really diving deep and being a part of their learning, supporting their executive functioning and planning, and again, really understanding and supporting them and modeling, good study habits, for instance, is really important.
These teachers, are they trained nowadays to kind of look out for this? And what do you want to say to teachers out there if they should spot something?
Yeah, so at Brain Balance, we actually do a lot of professional trainings, free to the public as well as paid, with school districts and whatnot. And unfortunately, I would love to say they are trained, but they're not. My background's in education. I have my credential, and I barely learned any of that in my professional,
so it's important
schooling.
that they can know and can track that.
That's right. So understand the signs. If they're fidgety, if they're constantly the class clown, a lot of times, usually there's more going on. It's task avoidance. So at Brain Balance, we'll teach you, again, whether you're a parent or you're an educator, what are the signs to look for in terms of concerns, whether it's sensory processing. You might think it's an attention focus issue, but maybe it's sensory processing. They're not able to manage the sounds and the noises and the feelings of their clothing. It could be that they are having difficulty writing. So whenever you tell them to do a writing assignment, it's not their favorite because you can tell with the way they grip that pencil. So there's many things that they can look for.
And the fallout, if you get the bad grades, that can stay with them for a long time.
That's right.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, when the way I put it is, every year that goes by doesn't get any easier. So the gap only gets bigger. And when you constantly feel like you're not succeeding and you're not given an opportunity to succeed, it just compounds more and more. Yeah, and again, you start having other behaviors, maybe some task avoidance, maybe you're the kid that just can't pay attention, or you're disrupting others when you can't help it, right? That impulsivity is difficult to manage. Then you become labeled that trouble kiddo,
right? Then there's a downward spiral if you don't get that taken care of. I know you guys have some webinars coming up. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, tomorrow we have one on bad grades. It's more than bad grades and the effect on mental health. Next week we have another one as well. In general, every month we have free webinars for the public, and again, we do other events as well and trainings that you can sign up for. It's just on our website, brainbalancesandiego.com. But any challenge you have, let's help you get to the root issue, whether you're a child, a teen, or an adult.
That's going to help them for their academic success for many years to come.
Adults too.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Amanda, thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Taking care of our brains, keep us in tip-top shape.
That's
We'll be
right
right back.